I said, oh, we're just about to make this 220. And he said, oh, really? I've got a 220. I was like, what? Who has one of those? Hi, I'm Robert Gregson from Gregson Polska. I came from England 2 decades ago to build up this body shop, making beautiful handcrafted aluminium car bodies. We've so far made most of all the XK range, from C-Type all the way up to the lovely low drag, and of course the lightweight, which is sat behind me. We've made prototype Bentleys, we've done 1930s cars, we've done lots of restorations of all sorts of cars, Jaguars, Porsches, Ford Mustangs, you name a mark, we've probably made it. But our main thing that we love to do is building aluminium handcrafted bodies. How the XJ220 story or project came about, first of all, it was just to make the skin. When the car arrived, all the guys had gone home because it came late through customs. So it came here about 5 o'clock at night. There's the truck driver and myself to offload the chassis on 4 old sort of tyres, no suspension, dropped on the floor with a wooden buck on. Quite a heavy sort of object to move about. So we asked a few people locally if they, give us a hand and whatever. So we dragged in the car. That was about 7 o'clock, I think, by the time we'd got it into the factory. The actual project itself, once we moved it into the bay that we were going to build it, we looked at it and we thought, oh, what have we got? Okay, we've got this chassis which doesn't matter to us. It's not going to affect our build. We've got this wooden buck. We had a few panels from some original race car. He had some front glass, some door hinges he wanted to use. We had pretty good photos from the internet of the sort of LM220. We've got a side view, we've got a front view and a rear view. We thought, right, where do we start? Well, if anything, you might as well just start. Just make a start. Doesn't matter what you do, just make a start. So we thought we'll start with the front, because that was the biggest, easiest piece at the front that we could see, had all easy sort of details for us to do. So we started off with the front. Once we actually started making the front wing, I had an email from someone I hadn't met until then, and said, oh, would you like to come to Denmark for a show? And I thought, oh, okay. I thought, well, how much is it? And he said, oh no, it's okay, it's all free, as long as you come here and bring something to show and whatever. And I thought, oh wow, that's okay. So at the time we had like an E-type bonnet, so I loaded up, went down to Denmark, and that night we had a meal with everybody there who was at the show. It was quite a smallish show. And the speaker of the night was Keith Helfelt, the designer of the XJ220. I couldn't believe it. I'm sat there going, what? What's going on here? I'm here just, of this email, or here's come to a show. And then Keith stood there, he's looking at Sir William Lyons himself. I was like, what? Afterwards, we were lucky to go and meet him. I said, oh, this is what I do here at Gregson Polska. And he's like, oh, wow, that's fantastic. And I said, oh, we just started making this XJ220. And he was like, oh, stood back from it, because who does that? And then from that night, next day at the show, someone came. I said, oh, we're just about to make this 220. And he said, oh, really? I've got a 220. I was like, what? Who has one of those, So I said, oh, can I come and see it? Is it close? I didn't even think about, size of Denmark, where you're going to travel. I'm just going, oh yeah, can I come and have a look? And he goes, oh yeah, and luckily he wasn't too far away. So packed up and went to go and see him. And I asked him, he's got a tape measure, so I could measure a few bits and things around the car. Although he had the road car, and I was just more the race sort of style. But information is what you need. You got to have the information, and so that was great. And we're still friends to this day. Contacted me the other day, so it's nice. This is why I like this sort of business. You end up getting lifelong sort of colleagues or whatever. Whether they use your services or not, you end up still being pally for whatever reason. Maybe it's just the cars or whatever. I don't know. So I came back from there. There's my jolly of it. By the time I got back, actually we'd made the front nose sort of cone, which is only the outer shape. We all saw that we've got the nose cone. We thought, oh, that's it, we'll be able to build the car now. It's, you know, it's not going to be beyond us now. Finished off the nose cone, then we moved on to the lower sills, then we moved on to the rear wings, and then the roof and so on. So basically we made the whole skin, made the door skins, all the outer skin of the car, apart from the rear diffuser. We left that later. Then we went, right, okay, now we've got to get into the engineering of this car, how we make the inner panels, how it's going to work, where's it going to fit, how's it all going to be constructed so you can take the front off, put it back on, front off, back on. Once we'd made all the rear, we had to make a frame for the rear of the car. The original car has only got a left wing and a right wing, whereas Trevor wanted it as all one clamshell to lift up and lift down. Through the car, we had Trevor ring us and say, oh, you know, whereabouts are you on the car? So, you know, we've made like the front end, we've made the rear, got the roof on. He goes, oh, can we have a sunroof? And I thought, oh yeah, okay, here's the little extras coming on. When you say, oh, make a sunroof, it's very easy to say it, and it's easy to cut a hole in the roof. That isn't rocket science. The rest of it is when you go, okay, I've cut a hole in the roof, it's this size, and then you got to think, well, it's not going to be a very big sunroof, because then we've got to think of rain channels and everything else, and then how you clamp it down inside. And probably the hardest bit on that car was two bits. On the front, on the intake, on the outer scuttle sort of thing, it's a beautiful feature. If you look at the car, if you look at like an LM car and whatever, the original car, or even look at this 220, it's a lovely waterfall effect. If you're sat in the car, although you can't see it because you sit so low, and you're looking down along the bonnet, so to say, and then you got this lovely waterfall dropping off into like sort of nothing. We had no information about that because on the Buck we had none of that. Because how could you know that on the Buck? You know, there's no way of them knowing that without actually building a car first to see where everything goes. You know, it's probably one of my favourite features actually on the car. Is that sounds funny, but then you know, when you build a lot of cars, you end up starting finding bits that you actually like more than the actual overall car. That's what happens. Or maybe it's just me. With the doors, we had Trevor sent over some hinges that are like for scissor doors, and they kind of go out, up, and then up. And it's a big block. You don't have a lot of space for the hinge to hide in. So what we had to do is, we had the information, we've got the door, we've got the A-pillar going up, we've got the sill going round and so on. So we fitted the hinge in to the chassis with just clamps, of course. Then fitted like an aluminium piece at the front, and then we just kind of like slowly start to see where's that going to go, you know, when it pulls out and up and so on. It took a long time to work out how we actually move this hinge to get it so we can actually come out of the body and then up and then over. Luckily we had the hinge, so that's one good thing, because we didn't have to design any of that up. But at the same time we still had to design all the rest of how it fits and where's it going to go. Once we got that design, then we could make a mock-up door, and then we could check everywhere that the top of the sills, around the B pillar, A pillar, everywhere would just be missing, and then you'd be able to up and down, close it, open it, you know, as many times as you like. And then once we've done that, we thought, okay, we can build a door. But then that led us into another problem. When the car was closed, the arm would stick into the wheel arch. But luckily, on the hinge, we could take off the front piece of the hinge and then re-engineer back and weld on to the other face of it, the rear face of it, to give it back the strength. And then that way it didn't impede into the wheel arch, and then we were okay then with the doors going up and down. But yeah, no, it's a really nice project because you had something to actually think about and work on. The rear diffuser was a bit complicated, I'd say, probably to make. No real information, really. You know, we had the bit of the wooden butt, but it didn't really tell us sort of enough. So we had a couple of photos, and we worked out from the size of the car and the depth of the car to end up getting the shape of what we. So that was more freehand, really, than actual on a shape. But I think it turned out well. The dashboard was different. We were going to make just the normal dash, which again was off photos, but Trevor said he wanted something different, so we had to change the way that we were going to do it first, and then thinking, oh, how we're going to do it so we can put this dash in and out. And then the actual dash cluster he wanted, there's an XJ220, I think they are, there's the race car. So that's why it's got a different binnacle than the actual 220. But yeah, lovely car. We didn't make the light lenses, but we made the tooling so they can make light lenses, which they probably will need, because you know, if that car's flying down the road at 100 odd miles an hour, get a stone through the lights, that's gonna be the first thing to probably like get cracked and split, so they'll probably need that. But yeah, lovely car. Very happy to make any more. And yeah, come and check out Gregson Polska if you want beautiful aluminium car bodies.